Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the class. How are you all? I hope you people are good and safe at your home. And if it is so, it's very good. Then I hope you people are following your timetable. As I told before 1 week, that if you are following your timetable after preparing, it will be very good. And complete your notes in the classwork, because sooner you're going to attend to the classes. Means from June 1st to 2021, you need to come to the school. Is it not? So there, ensure that you completed all the exercise questions and all the rough notebook before coming to the school. But you must come, that is a mandatory. Then along with that, you ensure that you have completed all the works. Then only you can have and you can create a good environment in the classroom, is it not, if you have completed all the works. So please take care of your health. Convey the message of wearing mask to be away from the second wave of COVID-19 among your friends and family. It is required. So apart from that, we will continue our classes. In the last class, we were discussing about understanding marginalization. So there we understood the concept marginalization, the term, name, or the definition of marginalization we have discussed in the last class. It's not along with the group which we are marginalized in our society, in the Indian society. So like Adivasis, SCSTs and women, girls, we are marginalized them under our stereotype and prejudice. So that's what we discuss about understanding marginalization. That's how we have discriminated people, and we have made a boundary in among us based on their characteristics and based on their income level, based on their race, color, gender, and based on many other economic economic basis. So we have classified them as a group of people who are marginalized, who are below average, and who are above average, is not. So that we have made it is main reason for having discrimination in our society. So because of this thinking, what we have stereotype thinking, it's creating the discrimination in our society. So that's what we discussed about there. There are many concepts we have discussed about the Adivasis we discussed, and what was the development we have discussed about their relationship with the monarchy we have discussed about that, and about the Muslims were also considered as a marginalized because they were less in a number. Now also they are less in a number, so that reason we were considering them as a lower people, which they cannot do anything because they are less in a number. But now under the constitution articles and the constitution provisions, every people, such a marginalized group of people like Adivasis and the SCSTs and women and the Muslims, they have got their own rights and the provisions. So it is given, it may be the reservation and the particular provisions as given for the group of people, mainly is to bring them up as we are like in the every other people, citizens of India. So to create equality among us. So while framing the constitution, they have provided this kind of provisions for every group of people who are considered as below average. So that is what in that last class we discussed. Now we are going to discuss about the confronting marginalization. So it's the name or the heading of this chapter, confronting marginalization. So the 8th chapter, what do you mean by, we discuss about the marginalization, is it not? We discuss about a marginalization. Then what do you mean by confronting? What is this confronting? What is the word meaning confronting? Confronting is something but facing a problem, and also not facing problem, it's fighting against of a problem. Confronting, like facing problem that nothing but is solving the problem or fighting against of a problem. Same, it's a confronting, like edrisodu. So it's about confronting marginalization. Now in under this democratic form of government, and also most of the people got education and the knowledge, so in this time we need to confront in against of a marginalization. ನಾವು ಮಾರ್ಜಿನಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಎದುರಿಸಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ. ಮಾರ್ಜಿನಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಈ ಒಂದು ಗ್ರೂಪಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಜನಗಳು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಜನ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಮಿಕ್ಕಿದಂಥ ಜನಗಳು ಅವರು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಜನ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನಾವು ಏನು ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಲ್ಲ ಕಲ್ಚರ್ನ, ಅದು ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅವರು. ನಾವು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋ ಭಾಷೆ ಅವ್ರು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಜನಗಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಕಾರಣದಿಂದ ನಾವು ಭೇದ ಭಾವ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಇದ್ರ ವಿರುದ್ಧ ಈ ಒಂದು ಭೇದ ಭಾವ ಏನು ನಮ್ಮ ತಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಅದ್ರ ವಿರುದ್ಧ ನಾವು ಹೋರಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ. ಯಾಕೆ ಹೋರಾಡಬೇಕು? ನಮ್ಮದು ಈ ಪ್ರಜಾಪ್ರಭುತ್ವ ದೇಶ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಪ್ರಜಾಪ್ರಭುತ್ವ ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ಒಂದು ಪದ್ಧತಿ. ಸೊ ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ we should have equality. When we suppose we don't have equality among us in every kind or in every aspects, then it is not meaning for the democratic form of government. So to create the successful way for this democratic form of government, we should have a first and foremost thing is equality among us. So we should not have any kind of a discrimination on the basis of anything. It may be gender, caste, religion. We should not have. So once if you're overcome from all these problems and all these stereotypes and prejudice what we have in our mind, then we can create a good future for this democratic form of country. So that's what we need to fight against this marginalization. So that's what we'll be discussing. So not from today, and it has been started from many years back. From by framing the constitution, they have started to confront against of marginalization. So main thing is that in a main it is one of the factor or the objectives which is mentioned in the constitution, that they have given some by giving the provisions, by giving a rights and by making a reservation for the group of people. So this constitution started to confront against of marginalization, discriminations what we have in our society. So because of these things, now gradually this discrimination, marginalization, every these things is getting down gradually. So because of the constitution, what is mentioned in the constitution, so under the in front of a constitution everybody are equal, is not the law. Constitution is a law, it's a book of a law. So in front of a law everybody are equal. So that's the reason we are going towards good democratic form of government. So here the confronting, what are those things which is taken up and why, how we are confronting in against of marginalization. So this picture that shows the three, this picture is explaining about the three human images. It's not, it's like cartoon. Here all the three people are somewhat different in the color. So if you take as a color, it's in black and white, it is somewhat mixture, they are different, is not, that shows they are, even they are different in their color, and it may be in the culture, economically, suppose in the rich they are poor, suppose if even though they are different, they are holding their hands tightly and they are standing in a one line, is not, that means they are considering them everybody as a human being and they are having humanity in their mind. They are not making discrimination against anybody. These two fellows, they are not made discrimination on this fellow because he is looking black or is having less money. So they are not making any discrimination. They are holding their hand correctly as they are holding others. So this what this says, that we need to fight against of marginalization to create equality among us. Now is it not a equality, that picture? Yes, this picture that shows, that illustrate about the equality in among us. Even though we have differentiations in among us, like is white, suppose for the think it's about white, that means he's having a very rich and he's a rich fellow and having a good skin color, and that fellow is not having, suppose this fellow is not having a good money and is not a rich person, is a poor person with having a black race. Suppose what did happen earlier? So it was had been happening that the people, they were making a discriminations against based on many other things like color. If the black guy is coming over there and they were making him to be away by making marginalization, by putting some line, it's not mentally putting some line. So that was we had earlier, but now with this information, with this knowledge of constitution and about knowledge of this every individual's uniqueness, we are having equality among us. That's we need to bring up in our democratic form of government. And first, every individual, they should inculcate the humanity in them. They should inculcate the humanity in them. They should think properly. They should learn and they should get the actual fact what is there here. The reality they should know. Is not, they should know, everybody, we should know the reality that every individuals are unique on this planet. Nobody is superior and nobody is inferior. Everybody are required and everybody are important for this nature, for this environment and for this life. Because we are dependent and we are interacted, human animals, means social animals we are, is not, everybody are required. So in this, why should we have a discrimination among us? So once if you learn about this all the things, once if you get a knowledge about all those things and the reality, and we'll get into the equality among us, and it will be peaceful life for our world. Then, so that's about marginalization. We discuss the meaning of marginalization is nothing but marginalization is the process whereby something or someone is pushed out to the edge of a group and accorded lesser importance. So the group are pushed away from the main group and accorded with lesser importances, and letting away to access into the lesser resources, not letting them to access into the resources. It's called as a marginalization. ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಗುಂಪಿಂದ ಸಣ್ಣ ಗುಂಪಿಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಜನಗಳನ್ನ ಆ ಗುಂಪಿಂದ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಆಗ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು, ಮತ್ತು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸಂಪನ್ಮೂಲ ಅಥವಾ ರಿಸೋರ್ಸ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಕೊಡದೆ, ಅಂದರೆ ಆ ಒಂದು ಹಕ್ಕು ಅಧಿಕಾರ ಕೊಡದೇ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಇವರು ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಜನಗಳಿರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, ಒಂದು ಗುಂಪಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಜನ ಇರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರು ಏನು ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ತಾರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸಬಾರ್ದು ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರಿಮಿನೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡೋ ರೀತಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದನ್ನ ಮಾರ್ಜಿನಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಒಂದು ಹಳ್ಳಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಒಂದು ಊರಲ್ಲಿ ಮೂಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಜನಗಳು ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಿಸಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ದೂರದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಿಸ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಮಾರ್ಜಿನಲೈಸ್ಡ್, ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಅವರು ಬಡವರು ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, ಅವ್ರ ಸ್ಕಿನ್ ಕಲರ್ ಬ್ಲ್ಯಾಕ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಅದೊಂದು ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೆ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ದೂರ ಇರಿಸ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಅ ಮಾರ್ಜಿನಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ವಾಟ್ ವಿ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ, ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್? So this is predominantly a social phenomena by which a majority or subgroup is excluded and their needs or desires ignored. So here minorities ಅಂತಂದರೆ less in number, actually it's a less in number. So we are discussing what it's a phenomena of a social, it's a social phenomena. We are what you call expanding the small group of people by taking by using the term minority. So minority is a less group of people. There the less group of people are a subgroup of people. They are ignored, and their desires are ignored, and their needs are ignored. Whatever they needed, basic needs are not given by the upper class people, means the group are having a bigger number. So they are not giving provisions for them. So it's all the marginalization what we discussed in the last class even, is not? Now you will go for the next conception. In the first concept, main concept to discuss in this chapter, that invoking fundamental rights. We know about the fundamental rights. What is the fundamental rights? ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ? ಮೂಲಭೂತ ಹಕ್ಕುಗಳು. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಎಸ್ ಅ ಫಂಡಮೆಂಟಲ್ ರೈಟ್ಸ್. ಬೇಸಿಕ್, ಮೂಲಭೂತ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಫಂಡಮೆಂಟಲ್, ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್. ದ ಫಂಡಮೆಂಟಲ್ ರೈಟ್ಸ್, ದ ವೆರಿ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ರೈಟ್ಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಸಿಟಿಸನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಮಸ್ಟ್ ನೀಡೆಡ್ ಟು ಕೀಪ್ ಅಪ್ ದಿಸ್ ಡೆಮೊಕ್ರೆಟಿಕ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಈ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಜಾಪ್ರಭುತ್ವ ಒಂದು ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ಪದ್ಧತಿ, ಇದನ್ನು ನಾವು ನಡೆಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಬೇಕು. ಈ ಪ್ರಜಾಪ್ರಭುತ್ವ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿ ಉಪಯೋಗ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಪ್ರಜಾಪ್ರಭುತ್ವ ಏನು ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಅದು ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಈ ಒಂದು ಮೂಲಭೂತ ಹಕ್ಕುಗಳನ್ನ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು. ಸೊ ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಫಂಡಮೆಂಟಲ್ ರೈಟ್ಸ್, ಎವ್ರಿ ಸಿಟಿಸನ್ಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಈಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ಅಮಂಗ್ ಅಸ್, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಸಿಟಿಸನ್ಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಗೆಟ್ the equal rights, equal dignity and equal respect from every others, is not? So that's what the fundamental rights. It has given many rights for every people, not for any, like it has not made any what you call partiality in giving any rights for a group of people. Some people may consider it's a partiality, the provisions and rights which is given for the tribals and the SCSTs. You may think it is a partiality. Many days and months back, I got a debate. I got information about the debate which was going on in the social life of India. There, many people, they were making debate that whatever the provisions and whatever the rights, special rights and reservation which is given to the SCSTs and also Adivasis and women, it's wrong. We are thinking present, is not? We are thinking about the situation which is going on in the present. According to our problem, we are thinking now. But this constitution was written before the 50 years, is not? There on the time, the people, they were leading the miserable life, very problematic life. Mainly the SCSTs and Adivasis, the women, they were leading a very miserable life. It was a very worst year for them. It was very worst lifestyle for them. You know, they were discriminated by every group of people. They were not having any rights to access into the basic needs. ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ನೀಡ್ಸ್ ಯಾರಪ್ಪನ ಮನೆಯದು? ಈ ಲೈಟ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ನೀರಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಭೂಮಿಲಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಫಲವತ್ತಾದ ಒಂದು ಬೆಳೆಗಳಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಯಾರಪ್ಪನ ಮನೆ ಅದು? ಸೊ ಬಟ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ದ ವಾಟರ್ ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಬಿಲಾಂಗ್ ಟು ಎನಿ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಆರ್ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್. ಇವನ್ ದ ಸನ್ಲೈಟ್ and also even the air and also for the food which will be given by the land, it is not belong to the particular people. ಈ ಭೂಮಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಫಲವತ್ತಾದ ಮಣ್ಣಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಬೆಳೆಗಳು ಬೆಳೀತಾರೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಊಟ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ, ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಆಹಾರ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ, ಹಣ್ಣು ಹಂಪಲು ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ, ನೀರು ಇದೆ. ಇದು ಯಾರ ಅಪ್ಪನ ಮನೆ ಇದು ಅಲ್ಲ, ಯಾವುದೊಂದು ಗುಂಪಿನ ಜನಗಳಿಗೂ ಸೇರಿದ್ದಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಒಬ್ಬನಿಗೆ ಸೇರಿದ್ದಲ್ಲ. ಆದರೆ ಆ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು, ಒಂದು ಗುಂಪಿನ ಜನಗಳು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥವ್ರು ಅಂದರೆ ರಿಚ್ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥವ್ರು ತಮ್ಮದೇ ಅನ್ಕೋತಾಯಿದ್ರು. ಆ ನೀರನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ತಾವೇ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಆ ಒಂದು ಈ ಬಡ ಜನಗಳಿಗೆ, SC STಗಳಿಗೆ, ಆದಿವಾಸಿಗಳಿಗೆ, ಹೆಣ್ಣು ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಮತ್ತು ಬಡವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅವ್ರೇನಾದ್ರು ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ತಗೋಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್, ಇದೊಂದು ನೇಚರ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು, ನಿಸರ್ಗ, ಈ ಪರಿಸರ ನಮಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಫ್ರೀಯಾಗಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದಲ್ವ, ಈ ಭೂಮಿನೇ ಫ್ರೀಯಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ನಮಗೆ. ಆದರೆ ಈ ಎಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ನಿಸರ್ಗ ಸಂಪನ್ಮೂಲನ ಈ ಜನಗಳು ತಮ್ಮ ಕೈಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮಿಕ್ಕಿದ ಒಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ಗುಂಪಿನ ಜನಗಳಿಗೆ ಆಟ ಆಡಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ದೇ ಆರ್ ಪ್ಲೇಯಿಂಗ್ ವಿತ್ ದ ಲೈಫ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಮಾರ್ಜಿನಲೈಸ್ಡ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ಸ್. ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಟು ಅವಾಯ್ಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ಆಲ್ ದಸ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್. ಅವರು ಮನುಷ್ಯ, ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್, ದೇ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ಸ್. Every individuals are unique, is not, every people are required for this earth, but that human beings were threatened and discriminated by the another human being. Both are a human being, but they have created their stereotype and prejudice in their mind. Negative thinking in their mind is created such things at that time. So to abolish all these things, to give a ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ರೈಟ್, ಟು ಇನ್ಕಲ್ಕೇಟ್ ದ ಹ್ಯುಮ್ಯಾನಿಟಿ ಇನ್ ಅಮಾಂಗ್ ಅಸ್. ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ಮಾನವೀಯತೆ ಬರಬೇಕು, ಮನುಷ್ಯರಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಮನುಷ್ಯರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಈ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂತು. ಸೊ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ನ ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಒಂದು ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಬಂತು. ಸೊ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ಡ್ ಅ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಬೈ ದಿಸ್ ರೈಟ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಪ್ರೊವಿಷನ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ the reservation, all these things as given for the SC STs and also Adivasis women. They have given these rights because ಎಲ್ಲ ರೈಟ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಮತ್ತು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟರು? ಆ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅದು ರಿಸರ್ವೇಷನ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ರಿಸರ್ವೇಷನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದರೆ SC STಗಳು ಹಂಗೇ ಉಳಿತಾಯಿದ್ರು, ಆದಿವಾಸಿಗಳು ಹಂಗೇ ಉಳಿತಾಯಿದ್ರು, ಮಿಕ್ದವ್ರು ಬೆಳೀತಾಯಿದ್ರು. ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್, now also the richer are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. Is not, now it's going on. Suppose the constitution has not mentioned the particular provisions, particular reservation for that group of people, then group of people they remain same like that. ಈ ಥರ ನಮ್ಮದು ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರಿಮಿನೇಷನ್ ನಡೀತಾನೆ ಇರ್ತಿತ್ತು, ಆ ಥರ ಏನೋ ಪ್ರೊವಿಷನ್ ಕೊಡದೇ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ರೆ. ಸೊ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ some of the people they have came as equal as few. Is not, some of the people I am mentioning, because there are some other people like SC STs and Adivasis, they were not known for this, means they didn't know about the rules and regulations and the rights which they got. ಅವರಿಗೆ ಏನೇನು ಹಕ್ಕಿದೆ ಅದು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಆ ಗೊತ್ತು ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಮಧ್ಯಸ್ಥಕ್ಕೆ ಇರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, ಎಡಪಂಥೀಯರು ಬಲಪಂಥೀಯರು, ಸೊ ದೇ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಲಿವಿಂಗ್. There are some people in India now, they are existed, they are having prejudice in their mind, they want to enjoy the provisions, all the provisions, they want to be like the upper class people, they want to dominate others. ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬರನ್ನ ತುಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬರ ಮೇಲೆ ದಬ್ಬಾಳಿಕೆ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಬೆಳೆಯುವಂಥ ಜನಗಳು ಇನ್ನೂ ಕೂಡ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ದೇ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅಲೌಡ್ ಟು ದ ಮಾರ್ಜಿನಲೈಸ್ಡ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಟು ನೋ ದೇರ್ ರೈಟ್ಸ್. ಮಾರ್ಜಿನಲೈಸ್ ಪೀಪಲ್, SC STಗಳಿಗೆ, ಆದಿವಾಸಿಗಳಿಗೆ ತಮಗೆ ಏನು ಹಕ್ಕಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳಕ್ಕೆ ಕೊಡದೇ ರೀತಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ನೋಡ್ಕೋತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಅವ್ರು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೋರಾಟ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಗೆಟ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ರೈಟ್ಸ್ ಅಮಂಗ್ ಅಸ್, ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಥರನೇ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ರೈಟ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಥಿಂಕಿಂಗ್ ಇವರು. ಸೊ ದಟ್ is the reason some other group of people in India, even they are poor and poorer. So now it's a time for our India to create a good future for the democratic form of government, that we need to invoke this. We need to invoke, that's what we are going to discuss now, invoking the fundamental rights. Invoking ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಪ್ರಚೋದನೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. We need to make that get up, we need to make fundamental right to popularize in every, means we need to make understand about the fundamental rights among every people, every citizens in our India. Among the SC STs, Adivasis, women, we need to make them understand about their fundamental rights. That invoking, ಪ್ರಚೋದನೆ ಮಾಡುವಂಥದ್ದು, ಎದುರಿಸುವಂಥದ್ದು ಅಂದರೆ ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತಿಳಿಸ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು, ಕೆರಳಿಸ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದನ್ನ ಇನ್ವೋಕಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. The fundamental rights are the basic rights given to every individuals of a nation which every person is entitled to have being a human. ಸೊ ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಮನುಷ್ಯರಾಗಿದ್ದರೆ ಈ ಒಂದು ಫಂಡಮೆಂಟಲ್ ರೈಟ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಅಳವಡಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಮನುಷ್ಯ ಅವನು ಸಪೋಸ್ ಅವನು ಚಪ್ಪಲಿ ಹೊಳಿತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ, ಕಸ ಗುಡಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ, ಭಿಕ್ಷೆ ಬಿಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ, ಅವನು ಕೂಡ ಮನುಷ್ಯನೇ. ಆ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಧಾನಮಂತ್ರಿ, ಈ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರಪತಿ ಅವರು ಕೂಡ ಮನುಷ್ಯನೇ. ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಸೊ ಬೋತ್ ದ prime minister and the beggar, they have a equal right, they have a equal power actually, but now we are considering them as apart. So prime minister, president ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥವ್ರು, ಬೆಗ್ಗರ್ ಅಂದರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಕಡೆ ಭಿಕ್ಷೆ ಬೇಡ ಅಂತವ್ರು. ಅವರು ಆ ಒಂದು ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ ಬಂದಿರೋದೇ ಆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿ, ಆ ಬೆಗ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಇಸ್ ನೋಡಿ ಭಿಕ್ಷೆ ಬೇಡಿ, ಓಟನ್ನ ಭಿಕ್ಷೆ ಬೇಡಿ ಆ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ ಬಂದಿರೋದು. ಬಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಫೆಲೋ ಇಸ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಲಿಟ್ರಲಿ ಇಸ್ ಬೆಗ್ಗಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಲೀಡ್ ಇಸ್ ಲೈಫ್. ಅವರು ಜನಗಳನ್ನ ತುಳಿಯೋಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರನೇ ಬೆಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಇಸ್ ನೋಡಿ ದೇರ್ ಆರ್, ಐ ಟಾಕಿಂಗ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ನಾಟ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಪೊಲಿಟಿಷಿಯನ್ಸ್, ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ ಸಮ್ ಪೀಪಲ್, ದ ಪೊಲಿಟಿಷಿಯನ್ಸ್, ದೇರ್ ಇಂಟೆನ್ಷನ್ ಟು ಮೇಕ್ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್, ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ದೇರ್ ಇಂಟೆನ್ಷನ್ ಟು ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ದೇರ್ increase their wealth, not to prepare a good future for the citizens. But there are most important what to call the politicians. If I take an example of Atal Bihari Vajpayee, so there are many important, the number of politicians now, even now also, they were striving hard, and also they are giving their better services, and they were servicing the nation, means the citizen people, and they are living for the betterment and welfare of citizens. That's good, and for the some of politicians. But apart from that, there are many other politicians, they are not, they are beggars of a vote. So here every people are equal in front of a fundamental rights, means in front of a law what we have in under the constitution. The fundamental rights are enshrined in the constitution and has been inspired from the American constitution. Here the fundamental rights are enshrined antandre, what is that enshrined? Pratistapane. Enshrined means it is established, and also it's created, and it is installed ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಸೊ ದ ಎನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರೈನ್ಡ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ದ ಪ್ರತಿಷ್ಠಾಪನೆ, ದ ಫಂಡಮೆಂಟಲ್ ರೈಟ್ಸ್ which is installed, or which is we have taken to constitution of Indian constitution from the American constitution. We have borrowed many things from the other constitution, other world constitution, like ರಷ್ಯಾದಿಂದ, ಅಮೇರಿಕಾದಿಂದ, ಆಸ್ಟ್ರೇಲಿಯಾದಿಂದ, ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ದೇಶಗಳಿಂದಲ್ಲ, ಜರ್ಮನಿಯಿಂದ, ಬೇರೆ ಒಂದು ದೇಶಗಳಿಂದ ನಮ್ಮ ಈ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ಗೆ ಅಳವಡಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ವಿ. ದ ಫಂಡಮೆಂಟಲ್ ರೈಟ್ಸ್, ಮೂಲಭೂತ ಹಕ್ಕುಗಳು ಅಮೇರಿಕನ್ದಿಂದ ತಗೊಂಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. The fundamental constitutional rights are equally available to all Indian, including marginalized groups. Here, so in under this law, mainly this constitution is created, prepared, formed or framed only to abolish this marginalization and create equality among us, to create a better future, is not. So it is not only for the upper class people, is not. It's belong to every people, even for the marginalized group. Earlier marginalized group ಅಂತ ಏನು ಕರಿತಿದ್ವಲ್ಲ, ಅವರೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಆಗ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಇದು ಲಾ. ಆದಿವಾಸೀಸ್, ದಲಿತ್ಸ್, ಮುಸ್ಲಿಮ್ಸ್, ವುಮೆನ್ and other marginal groups argue that simply by being citizens of a democratic country, they possess equal right that must be respected. So they are also the citizens of India. They are living in India, is not. They are also actual citizens of India. As a human beings, they also need a respect and dignity and equal rights as they are living in as they are living in the country, is not. As others living in a country, as equal as every others, they also need dignity, respect and equality. That's what they possess. They ask. Many among them look up to the constitution to address their concerns. Many others, the marginalized groups, they look up the constitutions. Suppose their dignity, suppose their fundamental rights is violated, then they will look up the constitution, is not. They will take a help of a constitution. So ಯಾರೇ ಒಂದು ಮಾರ್ಜಿನಲೈಸ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ಗೆ ತೊಂದರೆ ಆಯಿತು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಅವ್ರ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ತಗೋಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಬರೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ನಮಗೆ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಹಕ್ಕಿದೆ. ಸೊ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ಅ ರೈಟ್, ದೇ ಆರ್ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ರೈಟ್ ಇನ್ ದೇರ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್. So by insisting on their fundamental rights, they have drawn on this right in two ways, that are forced the government to recognize the injustice done by them, and they have insisted that the government should enforce these laws. Here they can ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಡ್ರಾನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಟು ಈ ಒಂದು ಫಂಡಮೆಂಟಲ್ ರೈಟ್ಸ್ನ ಯಾವರೇ ಒಂದು ಗುಂಪಿನ ಜನಗಳು ಎರಡು ರೀತಿ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ಕೋಬೋದು, ಎರಡು ರೀತಿ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೋದು ಈ ಒಂದು ಮೂಲಭೂತ ಹಕ್ಕನ್ನು. ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ? ಸಪೋಸ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೇನಾದರೂ ತೊಂದರೆ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ, ಮೂಲಭೂತ ಹಕ್ಕಿಗೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಮೂಲಭೂತ ಹಕ್ಕು ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದರೆ, ಗೋರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಗೆ ಈ ಮೂಲಭೂತ ಹಕ್ಕು ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೀವು ನೋಡಿ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮೈನ್, ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ರೆಕಗ್ನೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೋಗಿ ನಾವು ಕಂಪ್ಲೇಂಟ್ ಕೊಡೋದ್ರ ಮೂಲಕ ಅಥವಾ ನಾವು ಹೋರಾಟ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರ ಮೂಲಕ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ತಿಳುವಳಿಕೆ ಬರೋಂಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ by having some movements, by creating a movements, it may be the revolution or creating some strike, we can let them know, we can let a government to know that the people, some marginalized people, they are violated by the fundamental rights, means they got a violation in their fundamental rights. We can make them know. It's one way. Another way that we can insist them to create a law which is favorable for everybody. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಏನು ಅಂತಂದರೆ, ನಾವು ಅದು ಹೋರಾಟ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ನೀವು ಒಂದು ಲಾ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಒಂದು ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಇನ್ ಅಂಡರ್ ದಟ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಎವ್ರಿಬಡಿ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ, ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಪೀಪಲ್, ಎವ್ರಿ ಸಿಟಿಸನ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ obeyed and they should become equal in front of that. So that's what you can make, you can use these fundamental rights in the two ways. The struggle of the marginalized groups have influenced the government to frame new law in keeping with the spirit of a fundamental rights. Like this marginalized, it has been carried from the many years back. This from the ancient period we are following the marginalized. Even after adopting this constitution in India, marginalization, stereotypeness and the idea of this ideology and also this activity of marginalization, keeping some group of people away from the main group, it's all been, it was carried out. So the people, when they got information, when they got actual fact which is written in the constitution, they have forced, have and insisted the government to take us some laws. So according to that, the article 17 of a constitution states that untouchability has been abolished. So this means that no one can enforce or prevent Dalit from educating themselves, entering temples, using public facilities. So article 17, so they have started to make use, the marginalized group of people, they have started to make use of articles, laws and the rights which is given by the constitution. Under the constitution, article 17 that shows the untouchable activity has been abolished. The untouchability has been abolished. Untouchability ಅಂತಂದರೆ SC STಗಳು ಆವಾಗ ಮುಡಿಸ್ಕೋತಾ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಅವರು ಕೀಳು ಜಾತಿಯವರು, ಕೆಲಸ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಅಪ್ಪರ್ ಜಾತಿ ಥರ ಕೆಲಸ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಮನಿ ಇರಲ್ಲ, ಅವರು ಶ್ರೀಮಂತರಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಟಚ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋತಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಅವ್ರ ನೆರಳು ಕೂಡ ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬರ ಮೇಲೆ ಬೀಳಂಗೆ ನೋಡ್ಕೋತಿದ್ರು, ಬೀಳ್ದಂಗೆ ನೋಡ್ಕೋತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ವಾಸ್ untouchability were there at that time. To create a equality among us, the constitution has enforced the right for these SC STs by abolishing the untouchability. So on this, based on this, nobody should stop the Dalits, or it may be Muslims, Adivasis, women in entering to the school, temple and accessing the public facilities. Then again, the article 15 of the constitution states that no citizens of India shall be discriminated on the basis of reason, means religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth. This has been used by Dalits to seek equality where it has been denied to them. So this article 15, it is ensures that no citizens of India should not be discriminated. Nobody should be discriminated. Nobody should be discriminated in India based on their race, color, religion or place of birth. So earlier this was not given for the SC STs, means for Dalits. Earlier this right, for article 15 right was not given for the Dalits. Now according to this constitution, they have got a right that every people are equal, they should not have a discriminations. So the time to time the marginalized and minority has raised their voice and asked for equal and just treatment. So justice treatment, so they have raised their voice, and by the help of this constitution and the articles and with help of other educated people, they have raised their hands and their voice and they are seek for the equality and they got the equality. Now also many people, they are making strike if they get violated for their fundamental rights. So that was the basic rights was given by the Constitution of India to create equality in among us. So that's what we discussed about the first concept in this chapter. complete your classwork, and from the 1st January you're going to attend the classes. Make sure that you have completed all the exercise, and also you are completing or you are following up with the rough notebook. Thank you. Have a nice day.